Hey everyone, Ryan here. I can't believe 2022 is about to end. It's been definitely an exciting year tech-wise. I mean, if we compare it with any year prior to 2020, it hasn't been that exciting, but compared to 2 years before where we had to deal with product supply chain issues and companies postponing their next-gen products, I think this year has been great. In the world of smartwatches, in January, Garmin released their next series of watches, the Venue 2 Plus, the Fenix 7 line, and the brand new Epix 2. The Venue 2 Plus was barely an upgrade compared to the last gen watch Venue 2. Because the size of the watch had shrunk, which means the size of the battery got smaller, but it added an essential feature to the watch that would truly make this a smartwatch. And that's a speaker and microphone to take and make calls directly on the watch. At first it might sound kind of gimmicky, but actually it has saved me a bunch of times from missing some important phone calls. And yes, that means that I've been using this watch primarily this year, and this has been one of the reasons I chose this watch over the more advanced watches like the Fenix 7 and Epix 2, and I have no regret whatsoever about it. And in fact, I wasn't supposed to use this watch, but when I wore it for a few days to make a review video about it, I liked it so much that I just stuck with it. And I have made several videos about it that you can check out. We then had the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5, and this time they also released the Watch 5 Pro, which is just a cooler version of the Watch 5. With bigger battery life and also a couple more perks. When I reviewed the Galaxy Watch 5, I really liked how practical it was. I mean, there are a lot of things about it that are really useful, like lots of apps, the ability to use the watch as a remote, to take pictures and so on, and even recording voice on it without the need for a phone connectivity. The UI was beautifully done, but sometimes felt a little laggy. And then there was the body composition, ECG, and blood pressure monitoring apps, which weren't that impressive and they aren't available in all regions. And it's kind of a hassle using them, because at first you need to calibrate your blood pressure by using an actual blood pressure monitor, and you will be prompted to do that calibration every once in a while. And let's say that the ECG feature is available in your region, you would have to deal with 3 apps essentially. The Samsung Health app, the Galaxy Wearable app, and a third app, Samsung Health Monitoring, to be able to see the ECG results. So the whole user experience isn't great in this area, if you ask me. We of course also had the Apple Watch 8, and just like what Samsung did, Apple released a more rugged smartwatch for more fitness enthusiasts and a direct competition with other fitness-oriented smartwatch brands like Garmin, etc. The Apple Watch Ultra is a chunky watch, but like I said, it's more durable and rugged than a regular Apple Watch, and has a better battery life, plus a second speaker, and it has a siren feature, which is really nice. Plus an added button that helps a lot during activity recordings if you don't want to or can't use the touch. The Apple Watch 8 though is basically an Apple Watch 7 with a different number at the end. But to be fair, all those watches that I've mentioned so far, like the Garmin Venue 2 Plus and the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5, didn't have any changes in their core specs compared to the model before them. Perhaps the least exciting smartwatch was the Google Pixel Watch. You know what? I'll take it back. The least exciting smartwatch release was the Fitbit Sense 2 and Versa 4, and the reason why is for one and only one thing: the Google Pixel Watch. See, Google owns the Fitbit brand, and they released the new Fitbit Sense 2 and Versa 4 watches just before the release of the Google Pixel Watch. And what happened was that they downgraded those watches to the point that you couldn't install any third-party apps and remove the Wi-Fi connection and so on. So yeah, it was kind of messy, people weren't happy about it. And by the way, you can find a review video of this watch up here in the cards to watch later after this video. I mean, it is exciting that a brand like Google enters the smartwatch market, but what they did to Fitbit wasn't cool at all in my opinion. And the Google Pixel Watch wasn't that impressive either. I mean, the UI was good, but the battery life is very short, and the massive curvature of the displays, you know, it just invites all sorts of scratches and broken displays. So not the best choice if you're an active person. What was truly an exciting release this year was the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, a massive 14.6-inch tablet that was a game changer, not just for consumers, but also perhaps for other brands, as now that Samsung has validated that there is a market fit for this kind of a tablet in this size, other brands could, eventually start making massive tablets. And in fact, there has been rumors that Apple is also working on a giant tablet around the same size to be released in 2023. Samsung improved nearly everything when it comes to using a tablet by compromising one thing: portability. Everything else, like multitasking, content creation, content consumption, and playing games, just got better. I have to say though that I hope in the Tab S9 Ultra they use a high resolution, as a tablet this size really needs more resolution for everything to look super sharp. Recently we also got a taste of what it's like to use the Android 12L on this tablet, and it was a really good experience with the added taskbar, which is the main feature of it, and some extra gestures that improve multitasking. The iPad Pros were released this year too. I didn't review it, but I had a good reason. It wasn't exciting enough for me. Really, that was my main reason. But I'm really looking forward to the next generation of iPad Pros, and especially that larger sized one. And let's not forget the new iPhone 14 line. I mean, sure, we got the dynamic island, which was the cleverest thing, right? They basically created an exciting feature out of a flaw. And also the emergency satellite connectivity was new this year. But other than these and some new iOS features, it's basically iPhone 13 repackaged, honestly. And so historically, every 3 years, Apple has been releasing iPhones with a major change. That's why I think the real iPhone I'm looking forward to review is the iPhone 15, because that's when I expect some big changes, not just in iPhones, but also iPads. Another star of this year has been the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I mean, we got a new design. Samsung had killed the Note line, and we basically got a Note and S phone flagships combined, which meant for the first time we saw an S Pen on an S series. I mean, S Pen and S series, why didn't they do it earlier? Anyways, this one is all nice and dandy, great color options, great specs, amazing camera resolution, but there was one big problem. Some countries got the model with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 CPU, and some others, like the Europeans, got the Exynos 2200 model. And while they both deliver similar performance on paper, in reality, in some situations, the Snapdragon model was head and shoulders above performance-wise. And that was my main complaint back then when I reviewed it. And in the world of audio and headphones, I got to review the first pair of ANC headphones, as far as I know, that came with 60 hours of battery life. I'm talking about the Technics EAH A800 headphones. I mean, sure, they're a bit bulky and a tad heavy, but they've been the most comfortable pair of flagship ANC headphones I've tried this year. Not only do they sound amazing, quite balanced, and yet with a punchy bass, but also they have great ANC. The microphone quality is also great in my opinion, and it even cancels out noise from your end once you're talking with someone on the phone or online meeting, so that they can hear you better. And I think it does so quite aggressively compared to some other ones I've tried so far. One of the very few issues I've had with them though is this weird imbalance between the left and right side when I'm connected to any MacBook Pros. And a few times I've also had this issue where I'm connected to the laptop and having a meeting, and yet neither I can hear them nor they can hear me, while I can still, for example, listen to music. But turning the headphones off and on again and then connecting has been the solution for me. But let's not forget about the king of noise cancelling headphones. Sony released their new WH-1000XM5 headphones this year with a new design. This time around they used 2 ANC chips, which only made the noise cancelling better. They really are amazing when it comes to active noise cancellation. I wasn't impressed with a couple of things though. First of all, there is hardly any tilt adjustment of the ear cups in the Note design, and also the headband is a bit on the narrow side, which meant despite having a good enough padding, together with a very limited tilt adjustment, they were a little uncomfortable to wear for long hours for some folks, including myself. The other thing was that the sound quality was really good, very loud, very punchy bass, but some kinds of music sound a little muffled. But if you listen to a lot of EDMs and hip hop, then they're probably good enough. Sennheiser also made a new pair of flagship ANC headphones this year, and they too redesigned the new headphones with a focus on comfort and functionality instead of pure aesthetics and design. This made some Sennheiser fans who really liked the design of the Momentum 3 upset, and especially many people were rightfully so complaining about the quality of the new unit. I mean, other than the top of the headband, which had this fabric-like material, the rest of the design feels kind of cheap. But I think in terms of what Sennheiser was trying to achieve here, which is good comfort and good functionality, they were successful. And they sound really well tuned, and especially if you listen to anything instrumental and vocal, the sound stage and the mids are beautifully configured. And as a bonus, They have two of my favorite features that make them really unique. One is the battery and charging indicator LEDs, and the other one is a touch feature on the right ear cup where you can pinch and zoom to increase and decrease the level of ANC, which is brilliant. Oh, and just like the Technics headphones, they also come with 60 hours of battery life, which is a cherry on top. Before I talk about another one of my favorite tech products from this year, I just wanted to thank you all for tuning in and watching my videos, whether you subscribed or not. Hopefully you did. In January, in my second video, I told people my goal is to have 10 subscribers by the end of the month, and I think the conversion rate was more than 100 during that month. Then I set another target for the channel in terms of the number of subscribers for the entire 2022. And not only did I hit that target, but I also have a couple hundred more subscribers thanks to you guys. This is really a dream come true. I mean, I love tech and I love talking about it and sharing my thoughts with people. That's why in addition to reviews and unboxings, I also have tech talks and tips and tricks videos. I mean, even my shoes have trackers in them that I connect to an app on my phone to track my activities. So this is how much I love tech. And if you're into it and you want to help me out make more videos, I've set up new ways that you can support the channels, whether it's clicking on the thanks button on the YouTube or some other ways that I've added in the description. And very quickly, I also have a new channel called Tech Drops, link in the description, and it's all about weekly tech news. I'll try to make regular videos every week in 2023, and also a couple more channels that I'm currently conceptualizing, so stay tuned. Check out the community tab where I post regularly, or my Twitter, Ryan's Tech Media, for such announcements. All right, one of my other favorite tech from this year has been the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro earbuds. And honestly, so many people were confused about these because prior to these, we had the Galaxy Buds 2 and Galaxy Buds Pro. So it was confusing, but forgetting about the name, they really are the flagship earbuds from Samsung right now. And what most people these days don't like about earbuds from most brands is that they don't get a good fit and they keep falling out unless you constantly adjust them. Well, with these, you'll have a lot less of those problems. I mean, sure, the fit is kind of personal, but they come with 2 extra ear tips that you can try on. And there's this ear tip test fit on the Galaxy Wearable app, which is kind of cool. They have this 24-bit audio, and despite not having any of the high definition codecs like the aptX, etc., I'm pleased with the sound quality. The only thing that's not that impressive is the 360 audio, which, as I also said in the original review video, can sometimes feel like some unprofessional reverb and echo have been added to the audio once you enable it. And it also takes away some of the details, you know, when you listen to anything in the 360 audio mode. But there's this really cool thing I discovered about these earbuds and also the Galaxy Buds Pro, which made a lot of people really happy. I use this accidental feature every day, and I highly recommend you check out this video next to find out more if you haven't watched it before. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, guys.